We on?
We're on.
Woo! What are we talking about?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are
Fantastic. We are going to talk about some interesting things that I've been reading through lately.
Reading through.
So I don't know if I told you this, but I happen to have an advanced reader's copy.
Advanced reader's copy.
You know what that means?
No, well, I know that it is typically a book that someone has yet to be published, but they send it out to friends, family, coworkers, people that they trust to see things. Is this correct?
That is mostly correct, and it's not quite that, but that's okay because I don't. Explaining what it actually, the actual details is just too much, and it's not necessary. So, for all intents and purposes, I have an advanced reader's copy of a devotional, but the devotional is specific to business owners.
Specific to business owners.
Specifically for business owners. And it's very exciting because that's not typical. At least I've never experienced one before. Have you?
Not that I know of.
Okay, cool. So, because of that, I was actually with the authors at one point a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of talking through some of the first chapters in the first couple of days. So I want to go through those first couple of days with you. I want to talk a little bit about them and then discuss them in depth.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds
Before
like a plan.
we do, I got to fix my camera.
Fix your camera? Daggum! What happened? I thought you had it all set. All right, cool.
I was when I leaned in, I was being too in. Now I went too far.
You know, I could probably just adjust it while you sit there.
Probably.
And then you could look at it and
Do that.
say,
Let's do that.
tell me what you like.
Because see, I like to lean in like this, so that's pretty close, but just a little bit more. This way. No, the other way. Not the other way. I know, I told you the wrong way. Oh, come back just barely. Boom. I think we're good. That's great. Thank you.
I didn't touch it the last
Yes, you
time.
did.
No, I didn't.
It changed. It did not stay the same.
I didn't touch it the last time.
So if you didn't touch it,
for clarification,
God moved it for us, okay?
There you go. Okay.
So is this the Bible you got going on?
Bible. So
Can I go to, should I go to where we're going?
You can if you'd like. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Where we at?
We're in Psalms 127.
Psalms.
So I'm going to hit, day one.
So if y'all are with us, turn.
You can turn if you'd like.
127?
127.
I don't know. So we're going to talk about, so this is about what?
I'm going to read it.
Okay. Psalms
Okay.
127.
Psalms 127:1. Unless, and mine is Adonai, because it's the Jewish Bible. So, unless Adonai builds the house, its builders work in vain. That's it. So that's the first one. So,
Okay.
and the devotional is really cool for that one, goes into, really it talks about building on the foundation that God lays, right? And I think there's foundation in other versions. They talk about foundation. So we were there, and one of the authors.
This is last week.
It was probably 3 weeks ago. Okay. I don't know. I can't remember for certain. So one of the authors brought up the point because we were discussing, building on the foundation and all that, and he said, "Well, I really like to think about it like a sandwich."
Okay.
He goes, because the first thing, one of the most important things is that you're building on God's foundation, right? So
the bread of life.
Right, you're building on that foundation.
Yeah.
But the thing that becomes easy to do is we build what we feel like on that foundation. And the reality is we also need God to give us the blueprints to actually build.
The hierarchy of
right.
Of
so you have
materials in between.
Right. So you have this foundation, and then you have the blueprints, because we make bad decisions quite often. I don't know about you. You probably not.
We got to retitle this "The Sandwich of God."
Oh yeah, but this is the prelude.
Okay.
To the second
Sandwich of God, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all tell me if that should be the title.
To day 2.
I like this so far.
Right. So this is the prelude to day 2. because this is important.
So to catch everybody up, if you're just coming on here, Zach wanted to do an episode with me not knowing what we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
because I had been kind of just springing things on him when we would talk.
You sprang the last 4 on me at least,
and so he wanted to spring one on me.
Yeah,
and so that's what's happening.
That is what's happening.
That's what's happening.
That's why Zach's talking so much.
That's okay. I like it.
So, anyways, so you talked about this, this sandwiching. I'm like, man, that's a really great concept because we worry about the work that we're doing often, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least I do. Am I doing the right work, right? And that becomes this plague for people that are ambitious, right? Where do we land?
That are believers.
That are believers, yes.
Right.
Obviously, that are believers. Sorry, I implied that, but thank you for the update. So the benefit, though, so then we come to day 2, and this was not done with the authors. We only talked about day 1 while I was with them. So I started reading it.
When you say day 1, I'm confused.
It's a devotional.
Oh, and you're going through.
I'm going through the devotional day by day.
Gotcha.
I mean, unless you read through 30-day devotionals in a day, I mean, you might because you're a super reader. I'm not a super reader. I'm a slow.
I'm an eclectic reader. I hardly ever finish anything completely, but I read a lot.
That's painful for me. I like to finish things. Okay, so the day 2, which from a layout perspective, this is glorious to me because it is so on point for the through line of this whole thing because you kind of set the tone with these 2 major concepts.
Yeah.
So day 2 is Colossians 3:23. So let me find it in mine and I will read it.
Okay. It
says, whatever work you do, put yourself into it as those who are serving not merely other people, but the Lord.
Correct.
And so from the perspective of both of these, the exciting thing for me is, like I was saying, you get hung up in this, okay, should I be doing this work? Should I be doing this work? Mm-hmm. What should I be, God, what do you want me to do? Right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to be in alignment. I think the freeing thing is working is worshiping God.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I believe, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that in Hebrew, there is no distinction between the 2 for them.
The root is the same.
The root word is the same.
Avad.
Correct. Right? And so it's this freeing concept for people who have a propensity for trying to achieve and trying to do these things.
The people that everybody else calls workaholics.
Correct. Right? I've been called a workaholic more than once in my life.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's always this struggle within, am I working too much? Am I working on the right thing? Am I working on things that I desire over what God desires? And so for me, it was this freeing concept of, well, as long as I'm doing what God put in front of me, even if I'm out of alignment potentially, if I do the work like I'm doing it for Him,
that part,
then He'll honor that, and we're going to be okay, and He'll guide me back to where He wants me to go. But the other thing it does is it removes the outcome because a lot of times we do work with this specific outcome in mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And removing that is freeing.
Yeah.
Because we think, okay, I'll do this. God asked me to do this, and it needs to get to this, right? Or it needs to look like this. It needs to get to here, or it needs to look like this, or whatever that outcome needs to be.
Eisegesis, reading your will into God's plan.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Because we're so goal oriented or achievement oriented that we think that that this specific outcome over here is what should happen. And it's definitely not always the case. I don't want to say rarely the case, but oftentimes there's a whole lot of extra things that come in that God had in mind that we didn't see coming. Mm-hmm. And so he weaves all these awesome things in, some of them painful at the moment, but they will come to fruition at a later date that we don't know of. And so that's kind of where I wanted to start. I wanted to get your opinion on it because
I love that.
It's been a very, obviously I started the devotional last week. This is when I got it, but it was just a very freeing concept to me. Mm-hmm. And this gave me a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to say hope, I guess, but
hope is good.
I don't know if we'll go with that word. I'm not sure if that's all of it. There's probably some other things in there.
Hopeful anticipation.
Potentially.
Rest. Hopeful
I think
rest.
I think it's relief. I think it's a relief in
yeah.
Stop trying to figure out all the way down the road, right? Just here's the things that are in front of you. Work on them diligently. And then when those are done, I'll give you the next thing.
Yeah.
That's really challenging it's challenging for me because I want to see the whole thing.
Of course.
Right? I want to see where I'm working to.
Yeah. Of course. And, I think that's based in just trust itself, and right. It's a trust. And I think that's the hardest thing that we have is to, the theme in Scripture over and over and over again is people not trusting the Lord and that He has the best for them. And so because of that, they do their own thing and then they mess it up, or they make it take longer, right? Think about what the golden calf is, right? The golden calf, they go up they're saying the Lord comes down, speaks to them at the base of the mountain. They're like, oh my gosh, like this is intense. I can't even handle this.
I'm not going up there.
I can't go up there.
Moses, you go. I'm scared.
We'll stay right here. But everything that you just told us, we will do all that you tell us.
Right.
Right? We will do it.
At least for a minute.
So they're building the covenant, right? They make the covenantal agreement. So they've made the covenantal agreement. They go up the mount, or Moses goes up the mountain to get the stone tablets that enshrines said covenant.
Man, I so badly want some stone tablets.
And then you think you do, right? And then what happens? Then they come down. Then he comes down, and they've already broken it. People often wonder why he threw the tablets. Like, was Moses so angry he just lost his mind and just started throwing? No, they had already broken those stone tablets before he even got them down to them.
Yep.
Right? And so, because that was the covenant. And they had
it was just the physical representation for what already happened.
What had already happened. It's like, look, y'all,
I was barely gone for hardly any time.
I just got it. God made it, wrote it with his finger, right? It's like, but that's really what we do because they had built a golden calf. They had broken the second and the third commandment immediately, it's the reason why. But here's the deal: it's the reason why law never works for salvation by itself.
Right.
Like law never works for salvation because humans are too fickle and their heart is too deceitful, right? The heart is the most deceitful thing above all things and desperately wicked. And so one of my favorite verses is, and I'm going to butcher it. I'm going to do it by memory here, but it's a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. Right. So like you can plan all day long, up and down, sideways with spreadsheets and data points and courses and whatever. And all kinds of AI assistance.
Or whatever you want.
But at the end of the day, what God has willed is going to be, and it works so much better to just yield.
So the other theme that is all throughout Scripture, which every once in a while I go, couldn't it just be something else? Is when God calls somebody to do something, they don't ever just go to the calling. They always go through some very uncomfortable thing first. Moses had the wilderness. Joseph had a prison. They're just...
Joseph had multiple ones.
Joseph had a time and a half.
I
mean, Moses had a time and a half too.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even get to go in the promised land because he was like, okay, I know what to do here. But faithful all the way through, deal with all kinds of craziness, deal with crazy. I'm the leader of all these crazy people that are whining all the time. Like, I'm the spokesperson for God, and they're mad at me. Come on. But, man, there's all kinds of instances of it.
You know, I was thinking about Joseph the other day, and Joseph, man.
Job, don't forget Job.
Yeah, don't forget Job.
Yeah,
you know,
the pioneer of the of the thing.
You know, it's just so fascinating to me because
Abraham.
I was thinking about David, Solomon. All right, I was thinking about Joseph the other day.
Solomon's was interesting though. It's a little. I mean, it still happens, but.
Oh, he eventually comes back though.
No. That's not my point. His starts out differently than most of them.
Yeah.
So his is slightly different. It might be worse because you get everything, and then everything makes you miserable and do all this crazy stuff. You know, it's a little bit different cycle than some of the others because most of the others didn't have all the stuff already.
My wife. Jessie, her favorite book of the Bible is Ecclesiastes, or it was for a really long time. And, you know, one of the fascinating things about Ecclesiastes is, and I'll go back to Joseph here in just a second for what I wanted to say, but the fascinating thing about Ecclesiastes is you have a guy that literally had more money than anybody else, had more time to do whatever he wanted to. And, you know, he starts out the book of Ecclesiastes later in his life after he had his main heyday, and he says, you know, so I set my heart to literally go to the extreme of every single lustful appetite part of myself, of man. And so he has sex with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
You mean thousands?
women.
Didn't he have like 3,000 concubines or something?
I think it was like 700 wives and like 800 mistresses or something like that.
That's still
I don't remember the exact
That's
numbers.
still thousands.
That's still, yeah. And not only that is he has gold out the wazoo. He gets to build the temple, overlaying everything with gold. He builds as much as his heart desires. Mm-hmm. He makes all these treaties. Mm-hmm. He gets drunker than a skunk, and he says that he applies himself and gives himself totally and fully to every vice to see where it leads. And he said it always leads to nothing but vanity. And the conclusion later in his life, the last line, is here's the conclusion of all that. I've already done all this for you, so you don't have to do it.
Don't worry about it. I know the end of the road for all of them.
Here's how it all works, right? Just this is chapter 11 before the last chapter. He says, just as you don't know the way bones grow in a pregnant woman's belly, so you don't know the ways of the Lord. And before that, he says, don't just watch the wind and expect to know when you should plant and when you should sow. No, sow in the morning, sow in the evening. Sometimes both of them come good. Sometimes neither of them comes good. Some of them this one or that one, right? You don't know the way things are going to go, so you just work hard and go at it. And the conclusion of the matter in chapter 12, he stops calling himself king. He calls himself the old preacher. And he says, the conclusion of the entire, after I did all this stuff, conclusion of the matter is, enjoy your life, but remember, God's watching you. And you're going to say an account for everything you've ever done. So remember God and keep his commandments. And that's the whole duty of man. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. Right? It's like the wealthiest, most sexualized, most like what every single person ultimately wants is the ultimate power to do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, whenever they want.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, all that's a bunch of nuh-uh. Right? Like, don't
Good
go
luck.
do that. Good luck, because that ain't going to work good. Because I did it, and I'm telling you, that's not
It
the way
does
to
not
go about it.
end where you think it will.
Yeah. And, but, going back to Joseph, what I was going to talk about Joseph, which I think is so, I was really thinking about him the other day. We had a lot of the same ahas this week, by the way. But I was thinking about Joseph the other day, and I was thinking about how that if you were him, right, the number of times he could have just like cursed God, right, middle fingered the sky, and like said, look how unjust my situation is.
Job too.
Of course. So Joseph, he's loved by his father, but all of his brothers hate him, and they're jealous of him. And so they sell him into slavery. His brothers.
Throw him in a pit first.
First they throw him in a pit. Then they sell him. They're like, well, we better not kill him. We'll sell him.
Well, maybe we ought not do that.
We'll sell him for some silver, which is a foreshadowing of Christ as well. But a foreshadowing of the suffering servant. And he then goes into slavery. And then he's so talented that he ends up getting elevated to like work in the household of the captain of the guard, real high up. And he's then put in charge of everybody else there. He takes care of everything. But Pontifar's wife is like, oh man, he's a good-looking 20-something-year-old. I did that math one time about how old he is as he goes through. He's like 20. He's in his 20s at this time.
Yeah.
And so he's like, probably physically attractive and all the things. And Pontifar's wife is like, give me some of that.
Sign me up.
And he's like, no, I can't sin against the Lord or my master, being Pontifar. And so he runs away. She tears his garment. Or he leaves, it's part of his garment, so he probably runs off like half naked, right? And then she starts like screaming or whatever,
right?
And because she's mortified that he's rejected her, and so now she then blames it as if he had an advance on her, and then he gets put in freaking prison,
right?
Right, like the most unjust of unjustness,
like, really?
Because he had already like made it, so to speak. Right, and I feel like this on my entrepreneur journey sometimes because I've had some highs, but man, have I had some lows. I'm kind of going through one right now, actually, and things are just not working the way they're supposed to work or the way I expect them to work, and it's so fascinating because I was thinking about. Like, I'm belly aching, but like I ain't in prison, right? For something that
I did not do at all, right. Not even close.
That's right. And then while he's in there,
I did everything I could to not even come remotely in the ballpark of it.
That's right. And then he ends up. Here's the fascinating thing. Then he ends up like there's other people get thrown in there with him, and then like one of them is. And this is an aside story, but it's worthwhile. There's a baker, and then there's the guy that tastes the wine and makes sure that Pharaoh's not going to be poisoned, and the one that serves the wine.
What a job!
Do what?
I said what
a job, right? But they're both being put in prison, but they both have a dream, and this is actually also a foreshadowing of Christ, which is beautiful because the bread baker ends up having this dream, and Joseph interprets it to him, and he's like, "Oh, that means you're going to die in 3 days." And the other one has a dream. He's like, "Oh, you're going to be set free in 3 days." And 3 days later,
it comes to fruition.
The bread baker is broken and killed, right? And Christ is. Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you.
Yep.
Right? And then the wine,
which is the blood.
Server, which is the blood, gets to go free, which those that partake of his blood gets to go free. And then shortly thereafter, the third dream that he interprets is Pharaoh's dream at that stage of that narrative. And he then is elevated instantly. Not in a incremental way.
Right.
It's just boom, because that was the moment and the time. And he had to wait upon the Lord for that moment. Zach's like, I don't like that. We none like that.
It's comforting.
It is comforting. And
it's comforting when everything around you is falling apart. It's comforting.
Yeah, it is.
The discomfort is you don't know when. And you don't know how. Every time you think, I have arrived at the lowest point that I could probably go. Oh, look. There's a few more steps over there. You can go down a little bit more. Don't worry. I got you. That is the discomforting part.
That is discomforting.
But there's comfort in knowing that if you're seeking, it will hopefully be rectified at some point in a miraculous, very bottom to top kind of way.
Well, and that's the thing, because
we hope
when you look at Jesus, it wasn't like he was thrilled to go to the cross.
No.
Right? The night before.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating blood, because he's so absolutely terrified of what's coming. And he prays to God, asking him, is there any other way?
Because if there is, sign me up for that.
If there's any possible thing that I can do, you're infinite in knowledge, infinite, as God existing outside of time and space, and Jesus being God made finite in a body.
Thrust into time and space.
Right?
Willingly.
And then him having to say, are we sure about this here? Right. Like, I know. Like, now that I'm in it here.
Like, hold on. I know we talked about this ahead of time. I get it. This is the plan. Was there a plan B that we could potentially?
Is there another plan that we could?
Can we take a slight detour and still get there?
Yeah.
Nope.
And that's the thing, right? Because if you really think about that.
I've never sweat blood before, just so you know.
That's a real thing. Did you know that? There is I can't remember the name of it, but there is a literal technical term for it, and it does happen to people. And it happens when they're under massive amount of stress. They'll actually have blood that actually oozes out of their sweat pores. So
never arrived at that. I'd rather not.
Me neither. And so Jesus is right. So he doesn't like the idea, but he does it because he's obedient unto death. Right? He's obedient unto death. And so for the people that are truly yielding, right? He may not sentence you to death, but he might. Like the apostles.
The possibility doesn't
all
exist.
the apostles did except for John.
Right.
And that's wild to think about.
He didn't exactly have a cakewalk either.
Apparently they threw him in boiling oil and he didn't die. So that's probably the reason why he was at Patmos, island of Patmos,
probably
in a prison.
What it doesn't say necessarily is that he didn't feel it.
Oh, exactly. Right. And that. And by the way, just for clarity, it doesn't. That's not in the Bible that he was boiled in oil. That's the tradition that they said that he did. And so I don't know whether or not, but we do know he was an island of Patmos because that's the reason. That's where the book of Revelation. That's where he wrote it at. But
another example of, oh, by the way, I have something really important I need you to do. I'm going to ship you to this island.
What
did that? Come on. I'm supposed to be out getting disciples. No. Go over here.
Well, you know that the majority of the Apostle Paul's epistles were written in prison.
Right.
Right? So you got to know that when he was sitting there, he was like, this is such a waste of time, right? Like sitting here, I could be out evangelizing, I could be out preaching, but he didn't know that those books was going to be
what they would do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But think about the struggle with go do this. Now you're in prison. What is going on? You told me to go do this thing.
I thought I was supposed to be doing this thing.
I thought that it was supposed to be this, and I thought it was supposed to look like this. No. Hold on. You just sit down right here, and I'll show you. Yes. In a not comfy spot. He's probably chained to some wall with a bunch of rats running around.
Exactly.
It's starving.
Eating, probably given like a bowl of like rat leg or something.
If he was lucky, probably just got bread mostly.
Probably.
With mold on it.
Stale, moldy bread.
Ideal conditions for epistles. I say that laughing, but
and also with respect, right?
But with the utmost respect for the fact that,
and he did it.
Well, the fact that he did it and he didn't quit, right? Because I'm sure that the thought of quitting was there.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, if it wasn't, praise him, like, good for you, bro, but I want some of that faith. But, man, just, here's the call. This is where you arrive. And then just getting to work. Well, I can do this. Start doing this. Oh, what about this? And just getting to work on where you're at.
Well, and I think that's that point. You read that in, I think it was in Colossians.
Yeah.
Where it says, whatever you do,
right?
Whatever you find yourself doing, you got to do it as if you're working for the Lord. And I think that's a big deal in understanding the kingdom, because so many people think of the kingdom as only a place in heaven far away, while kingdom is actually the governmental, like it is a governmental structure.
Yes.
And so it operates fully in heaven and sometimes on earth, because that's the whole idea of the Lord's Prayer. Right? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so in the fullness of time, that full 100% will of the Father will come all the way to earth, and it will transform the entire earth into a new heavens and a new earth. But we as believers that are operating in this foreign territory that's not fully
conquered yet.
It's not fully conquered yet. It is our responsibility to
take ground.
To what?
To take ground.
To take ground, yes. And because we're going into foreign territory, there will be persecution, and there will be trials, and there will be temptations, and there will be, because we're also living in this body of death and decay and lust and sin. And although our spirits have been regenerated, and that we will receive a resurrected and perfected body likened to that of Christ, that's not there yet. So we are now an invading army force, right? That doesn't conquer by the sword, but by the sword of the word itself, truth by truth itself. And I think that's comforting and terrifying all at the same time. More comforting than terrifying, because if you look at the world and you look at what's going on, the amount of stuff that's upside down from any kind of biblical value is insanity. And so the idea that we even assume that things are going to go right all the time is pretend land, right? But the reality is, we started this with like avad, work and worship. And I think so many people get caught up in, and this bothers me a lot, actually. So many of us or people in general kind of separate work from worship. They go to church on Sunday, right? Or they celebrate the Sabbath, whatever, and they're trying to worship, right? And then they go into the world and in order to pay their electric bill and to pay their payments and to catch up on their credit card debt, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's like they have two masters because there's the work week masters and then there's the Sunday master.
Yep.
And it's amazing to me how that in that Colossians passage, he's actually talking to Christianized servants at that time that are not owning themselves.
Yep.
Okay. And there's a lot of contention in that anyway in today's world around even those passages. But the Apostle Paul's point there is, listen, you don't really know the reason why you're there. And in fact, in Philemon, there's a runaway servant in the book of Philemon. And he has, and the servant converted. So did Philemon. Philemon. And Philemon owns this person. And Apostle Paul is actually writing to him saying, here, I'm bringing him back to you and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? You know how the Lord has released you from all your debts, I think you really need to consider.
You might think about it.
And whether you release him or not, you are to treat him as a brother in Christ in the same way, right? But of course, he's really throwing his authority in the line.
Oh yeah,
and he even says and I know you'll do the right thing, Philemon. I have full confidence in how you will approach this situation. Right. I know you'll really do the right thing here.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I'll come personally have a talking with you.
Exactly.
That's the implications
and
there.
Allowing, and I think the point here is because in that situation, people shy away from that story a lot of times because it feels like tension in today's world. But if you don't hyper time lock it in the sense of it's really easy to look back at any time in history and say, oh, that's not good, or that's blank. And you can do that also with your neighbor, right? You find out all the things that's wrong with them, but there's plenty of stuff wrong with you too. So what else can we get from that? And I think what we can get is what even in a crappy situation as that, you're not actually working for that dude, that master, however that is, and in the same way, that creditor, right?
Right.
That boss, that full situation that's running your life, because you'll become resentful and angry and bitter. And if you remember, because I think about this sometimes, King Jesus. If you think of Jesus as king and not just savior, he tasked you with that. Because you can look at back the Lord of the Rings stuff or any kind of ancient, or even Chronicles of Narnia. And Aslan makes Peter a knight. He's like this kid. He doesn't have the fighting skills. He doesn't have any, yet all the centaurs and all the
everybody
reports to him. It's like, my liege. And then I remember in the movie, I don't know if it says it in the book, I can't remember, but in the movie, Peter looks at him right before they're going to run into this massive army of tigers and polar bears and like beasts with bull horns and giants running at them. And he's fixing to run into, and what they know at that point in time is Aslan was just killed by those people.
Right.
From their perspective. And he looks over at the centaur, the leader of the centaurs. He says, "Are you with me?" And he says, "To the death." Oh, my God.
So good.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Because it makes me like King Jesus, if he's put you here. Are you with me? Are we going to answer like the centaur did?
Right.
At the beginning of the battle.
Exactly.
To the death. Even though I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know what the result is.
What the results are going to be. Right? But I trust in where you've placed this. And I'm going to work in it to the utmost ability as if I'm doing it for the Lord.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Exactly.
Zachary.
It's a very challenging concept to wrestle with, at least for me. I mean, you're probably a little holier than me, but
I don't know about that now.
But it's just one of those.
I would beg to differ about that.
It's just one of those things where it's that constant giving it back. And
it's always a pride problem at the end of the day.
Oh, for sure. For
Such
sure.
a pride problem.
Well, and then you go to James, all persecution with joy, right? And I know that's a super paraphrase. It's not, but
that whole first chapter.
That's the essence of it. It's whatever you're doing.
Oh yeah. You getting tried and tempted?
Yeah.
With
joy
instead of
in your
complaining
heart.
about it,
be joyful about it.
Be joyful about it. And ask for wisdom in those trials.
Every day.
And don't be double-minded about it.
Which is like, okay, I'm doing my best. Please tell me what to do. Stone tablet.
I also think that I do.
Oh man.
I gotta share this poem that I heard about yesterday.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna read the last 2 lines.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called The Agony by George Herbert, and it was back British,
Okay.
old, like even many of the words are like staff is like STAFFE.
Okay.
And press is PRESSE. So there's like a lot of words that are like spelt a little differently.
Sure.
Because it's more Old English, but it's an old British poet. And it's his poem about the Lord's Supper.
Okay.
And partaking of the Lord's Supper.
Okay.
But it's really, if you read about it, it's more than just about that. It's about salvation itself. It's about the whole process. But it's connected to this idea. And here's the last 2 lines. Okay. Oh my gosh. Like when I heard this, I had to rewind the podcast 4 times. I had to look it up. I went and then wrote it down because okay.
Punch you in the heart, huh?
Mm-hmm. It says, love is that liquor, sweet and most divine, which my God feels as blood, but I as wine. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Love is that liquor, sweet and most divine. So love is like this intoxicating beverage, sweet and most divine. But the one who gives it doesn't experience it as such. He experiences it as that pain
and suffering. Of blood loss.
Yeah. And like a wine press getting squeezed. My favorite scene on The Chosen. I don't know if you've kept up with The Chosen or not, but in
I haven't.
season 4, I believe it is. If it's not, it's season 5, but I'm pretty sure it's season 4. Towards the end, there's the centurion, Gaius. We don't know in scriptures. We don't know his real name. But there is a Gaius in scripture, so they conflate a lot of different stuff to make the storyline work. But in scripture, the centurion that comes to him and says, "Hey, I have this son, or this servant that's about near death.
Mm-hmm.
You can fix him." He calls him Lord, and so it's this Greek or this Roman centurion that, and in The Chosen, it's like his bastard son that's actually his servant because he had relations with his servant, and
not uncommon in Roman times.
Not uncommon in Roman times at all. And he felt bad for it. There was always some tension in his family. They built all this up, as a backstory.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, then he runs to because he's about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up befriending Matthew and stuff. And so anyway, he goes to Jesus and he's like, "I need to see you." And Jesus is like, "What's up?" And he falls to his knees, and he falls to his knees, and he calls him Lord. And he heals him from a distance. He says, "Oh, you don't even have to.
Don't even worry
you don't
about
have to
it.
go. I know you have the power. You can do it from a distance."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, I haven't seen any faith like this. And this is from a Gentile? Like what?"
Right.
Like, he's not even of our faith, and he has more faith than anybody in this room because none of y'all been acting like that. And
better take notes.
yeah. And so then right after this, Jesus gets so furious with them because he's been dropping hints and telling them about, hey, he's going to have to go to the cross. He's going to do all this kind of stuff. And then James and John come to him and say, "Hey, when you come into your kingdom, can we kind of be first and sit in your right and left hand? Like, can we be right there? Like, can we be the top disciples?" And he gets so frustrated because he's like, "Don't you listen to anything I'm saying? Like, you can't, you will drink of the cup that I'm going to have to drink of. You will have to deal with this stuff, but you won't do it yet because first you're going to have to see me go get crucified and stuff." And it just goes over their head. They still don't get it. And he's so mad. He's like, "Just go." And he goes off alone by himself because he just needs to chill out a little bit and pray and get realigned because he's in turmoil about knowing he's going to have to go to the cross.
Right. I'm sorry. The image that flashed into my head was this image of the Three Stooges and Mo being like, "What's wrong with you two?" and slapping them and doing silly stuff. I realize it's way out of context, but that's what popped in my head.
Well, the next scene here, which is, oh my gosh, when I seen this, was a
little weepy.
Oh, not just a little bit. They were running. And I don't have running tears often at all. But they were running. And the reason why, because that had just happened, and you've forgotten about that just happened, okay? And Jesus is all, frustrated. And of course, again, he's wrestling with knowing this is coming up. And he's about to be crucified. And
TikTok.
Even his closest disciples don't get it. They don't get it.
They're still missing the point.
They're missing the whole point of what he's here to do, which is to forgive sins. Not just to forgive sins, but to be atonement for their sins as sacrifice. And so he goes off and he looks, and they're making wine. And they've got this big wine press. They put all these grapes underneath it. And they put these heavy stones on it, on this big stick to weigh it down. And they keep doing it. And they're like, and so all this weight is being on the big stone grinder. Mm-hmm. And then the grapes are underneath. And then they start turning it and pressing it and squeezing it. And out comes all this blood. And it's this beautiful scene because they have Jonathan Rumi. He gets overwhelmed knowing that's
upon him.
Right, that's him.
Right.
Because he's going to be broken and his blood's going to pour out.
Yep.
And you see this, and he's weeping himself about it. Of course, this all the symbolism is there in Scripture. This particular story is not in Scripture, but it's very reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense of it's very scriptural,
Right.
And, oh my gosh. And what has happened is the centurion had went home. Son was fine, rejoiced, and he was running back to thank Jesus. He's not got his armor on. He runs over, and right as Jesus is being overwhelmed by looking at this, he looks over, and there's this Roman centurion without any armor on, with tears in his eyes, coming to embrace Jesus. And you see this look of, oh, this is why it's worth it. It come over Jesus' oh my gosh, it's
masterful depiction of it.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And it just goes back to what we've been talking about all day long. But how that you just have to trust that it's all worth it in the suffering. And our suffering is nothing like that kind of suffering. It's not even close. And I think that's helpful in so many different ways, because throughout history, all the great heroes, especially the heroes of faith, if you just track their life, it's not hunky-dory.
Not at all.
And I think that's the beautiful part of it, because if it were, you wouldn't have anything to look back to for strength, You wouldn't have, as you said early, that hope.
Yeah.
That it elicits and it seeds in your heart.
I'm always fascinated by the fact that, and this is
a good conversation.
I hope so. I hope it's fascinating. So I always,
John, catch that? I hope it's fascinating.
So I don't know how scripturally relevant this is.
Hold on, before you say that, if you're watching this, comment down below a moment in your life where you were in a moment of suffering, and on the other side of that suffering, you saw what God was working out and doing in those times of not knowing what you were going to be doing, and how that he connected the dots after you got there. And you could see all the twists and turns that made that possible. Because I'd like to read some as people go, because I think this episode is really powerful, particularly for the believer. And because that's where you see God in those
That's
working.
I mean, honestly, those twists and turns and all those things, part of the reason I came to believe in God, right? Because when I arrived at that moment, I was able to look back and see all the places where God directed me and intervened and guided me to different things.
Even without your knowledge.
Even without my knowledge,
yeah.
Right? And without all those different series of events, I don't know where I arrive.
Well, you wouldn't be with Laura. You wouldn't have your son.
I mean, that's all implied. Like, I obviously wouldn't be here like this at this moment, right? That's always the time travel conundrum type thing, right?
Yeah.
But if you look back at it, I don't know. I'm not sure, and I won't ever know, and that's okay.
Well,
but
go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
But if you're able to step out of it a little bit and look, you can usually see some of the through line. Maybe not everything. Obviously, we can't see all the threads in the tapestry, but
there's a tapestry.
But there's a tapestry, and it's woven together so masterfully. It's incredible. so many different things touching, and that's why there's no word for coincidence in Hebrew.
You know, it's fascinating. Hey, I didn't mean for that one to come out. It's fascinating. It's fascinating how that, you know, if I look back at the things that have meant the most to me and do mean the most to me, my relationships that mean the most to me, experiences that I've had that means the most to me, if I were to write them all down, all of them came or was a product or was connected to moments of huge uncertainty and doubt and not knowing how it was going to turn out. Like, I remember when the day I got married, we'd been engaged for like 4 years because I was really ready to get married until we was engaged, and I was like, oh, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I remember I was walking down, getting ready to go to, because the day was crazy because we got married behind a barn.
It's always
we
crazy.
had done this thing, and I was always hoping that my wedding day would be like, right? I say hoping. I never thought about my wedding day that much, but I definitely was not expecting it to be like this because it had rained. And so we had everything set up, and then it rained, and all the tablecloths and everything got totally wet. And so all my aunts had to take it to all their different homes to dry them all. And then, like, I was having to help re-put the sound system up and all this kind of stuff. And it was like an hour before the wedding. People were fixing to start getting there, and I was like muddy and dirty. So I had to hurry up and go home. I like taking a shower real quick. Like, where's my clothes? Put them on, and then like they were already like in the ceremony. So I'm like walking down this little trail in the woods, getting to all my best men and groomsmen was like out in the woods waiting on me because he's gonna come in because we were behind the barn in the woods. So like they were behind the wedding. We were going to come in at a certain song, and the songs were playing and stuff. I'm walking down that, and I was like, what in the world am I doing? I need to go away from this right now. I just need to leave. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can commit. I'm so uncertain about this right now because it's such a big decision.
Right.
And I didn't even have a chance that morning to digest anything. And it was all hitting me like I'm walking for a single word that will change the rest of my life for the rest of it right now. And I hadn't even had a chance to sit down and comb my hair. You know, I mean, I did comb my hair before I went. You know me. I couldn't do that. But anyway, the point is I
didn't wear a hat?
I was almost late to my wedding, like really almost late. And the crazy thing is though, but my children and my wife and like I would like.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have said yes in that insane amount of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Or the way we met.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like we both bought a program from a person
at different times.
Betting a $55,000 moon each.
Mine was a little smaller, but
Oh really?
well,
how much did you pay?
40, but I was,
How'd you get a good deal?
because I was first. I was there way before. I was there before
he had raised his prices.
Well, because it wasn't what
it wasn't that.
There were all the things that were there.
None of it was there yet. Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah, no.
Right. There were no bi-weekly meetings.
There was no membership area.
There were none of that.
For all that.
None
Y'all
of
built
that.
Right?
Yeah. No, we didn't build. Oh wait, did we build that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure y'all built the membership area because I thought that you said that it wasn't there yet.
It was
Kinda.
But it was in Go High Level, and it was just okay. It was
Go High Level wasn't there yet, was it? It was already launched.
Yeah, but it was wonky, and it was anyway.
Fascinating. I didn't know.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Okay.
So, but yeah, all the regular cadence and all that, none of that was there.
Oh yeah.
We didn't even have. We just knew that
yep.
there would be events during the year, and then.
And that's all you were buying.
In typical fashion, 2 weeks prior to the event,
get a notification.
Here's the notification.
2 weeks. Wow.
I'm like, I can't. I still have a job. I can't take off work and get to wherever. And what? Can I get a slight bit more notice than 2 weeks? Well, and
after paying $40,000,
and it was COVID, right? So COVID happened immediately afterwards. So you couldn't even, most of the stuff you couldn't even do. You couldn't. It wasn't like you could actually even have the event. So yeah, there was all kinds of madness. So I want to talk about the wedding day real quick.
Okay.
Because I had a not quite the same disaster of a wedding day thing happen, but I had something. So we rented pavilions at this state park. It was actually Goodyear. So Goodyear, where they used to have a park, and then they ended up selling it to the state, and the state took it over. Anyways, you could rent the pavilions. Super nice, super big pavilions, had fireplaces on both sides and stuff like that. Super cool. So I was up at, I don't know, probably 4:30 in the morning to go and help get all the stuff there to decorate, right? On my way home with my father-in-law, we stopped to get a rental car because we were going to go on our honeymoon, and I didn't feel like driving the whole way on our honeymoon in my little Honda Civic because that's just not cool. So I got a nice car. I get home with the car, and one of the radiator lines broke as I pulled into my driveway. Just dumped, like all the radiator fluid dumped into my driveway, and the car starts overheating. And my father-in-law is like, "What are you going to do?" And he's starting to panic because I love him, but fast action is not necessarily his game. Great dude, but that's not his favorite thing. Super high stress. I'm like, "Oh, it's getting fixed." So I call the rental company, and they're like, "Well, we can probably get you, another car sometime." I said, No. I said, "That's not what's going to happen." So this is what's going to happen. You can send whatever you need to get this car. I'm coming back right now, and you're going to give me another car. And they're like, "Well," I said, "I'm getting married in 3 hours, and I got other crap to do, and I'm running behind as it is. This is going to happen. I will be there in 15 minutes because the airport's 15 minutes from where I live. I'll be there in 15 minutes. The keys are in this car underneath the floor mat. I don't care who you send. Send your truck, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. It'll be sitting here. It's not moving. I'm coming." Sure enough, I got there. They were there waiting for me. They had another car for me and all that. But that was not the thing. It's like, I don't need this today. Not today. Not today. I'm already behind. Yeah. This is not what I need. Similar to your thing. Yeah. It's like, what the heck? We're set up. We're ready to rock and roll. Nope. Here's a little disruption for you.
We leave. The wedding ended up being perfect. We get there, we leave, and we're driving and stuff, and I'm exhausted because I physically worked all day.
Same.
Yeah, I was so.
I drove 9 hours.
I did too.
I drove 9 hours.
I didn't drive 9 hours. I drove about 4. But so
4 would have been a better choice.
I was in a GPS. I had the GPS up, and Jesse had fallen completely asleep.
Oh.
And there had been some kind of big interstate fiasco, and I didn't even realize it because I was half asleep, and it rerouted me, and then I was in these little tiny back roads in Tennessee, going everywhere.
Those are roller coaster roads.
And
if you
Jesse,
don't,
it was bumping. And Jessie looked over at me. She was like, "Where are we?" I said, "I don't know."
If you don't like roller coasters, whatever you do, if you come to Tennessee, I'm telling you right now, if you don't like roller coasters, whatever you do not get off of main roads. If you go on some side road, I swear to you, it will be like a roller coaster ride. They are incredible.
That is so funny.
And there is little to no safety devices with that.
And most of them don't have lines
they might not have lines.
Or even 2 lanes, a lot of them.
Might not have 2 lanes, might not have lines. And you surely probably don't have guardrails.
No.
And there is a not tiny drop if you mess up. So all I'm saying, if roller coasters ain't your thing,
especially in Appalachia area.
Oh yeah. The more east you go,
Middle and east. Yeah.
Middle and east, but the more east you go, the worse it'll get. But I'm telling you right now, if that's your case, because that Laura doesn't like roller coasters, and we've gone because we like hiking though.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to get to most of the waterfalls and most of the cool hiking paths is on some really awesome road. They're awesome for me.
Well, that's the reason why
I love roller coasters.
That's where the waterfalls come from.
I get
Right.
it. I understand why you have to.
There's a lot of waterfalls in Tennessee.
I know.
There's a lot of waterfalls.
I know. It's awesome. We've been to like 5 of them already.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been to more than I have.
I know. It's incredible. And when you told me you hadn't been to the one that's Burgess Falls is right here, I was like, dude, it's 30 minutes from your house, and it's the easiest drive out of all of them.
We hadn't been doing anything. I've been trying to catch up on business and stuff. I haven't done anything fun for 6 months.
It's not advisable. So let me jump back because we skipped. So I don't think this is. I mean, it might be biblical. It's something that I've thought about. So in Genesis, God talks about forming man out of the dust of the earth.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if you ever played with dust and dirt, but it don't really go together real easy. Not without a lot of pressure and squeezing and forming.
And water.
But you still have to squeeze it and mold it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was, to me, it's almost this prelude to man in general. You need to be, you're formed and you got pressed to be formed. And even if you think about it in the womb, right? Mm-hmm. And I know this because our son was born premature, so he had to get physical therapy for his legs and stuff like that, because what happens in the womb is that squeezing and pressure helps with muscle development and helps with certain tendon development. And without it, you have to manufacture it later.
Oh, fascinating.
Right? So it's this, because, anyways.
That make that
right.
As it you remove room as it grows.
Exactly.
There's more tension.
There's more tension, and so it helps develop different things.
That makes sense.
Right? And so when you skip 3 months of pregnancy you don't have any of that tension, it has different effects and other things that you have to, account for. So anyways, that's always been this thing in my head where it's like, okay, well, that's how we started. We started under
pressure.
The development's always under pressure. Progress is always under pressing.
Well, and even being delivered to the canal is so much pressure.
On both people. Right? So both things, but that's the start of it. That's the start of it back in Genesis. God didn't just do that. It specifically talks about
He
formed him out of the dust of the earth. And that forming is pressing.
So I have you finish your thought.
And so it's, to me, it's this foreshadowing of this is your role and responsibility. You will be formed and pressed and refined the whole time you're here.
Yeah.
The entire time. So you better just get used to it.
This reminds me of, I've often thought about this, and I've never heard anyone talk about it, but I love not hearing someone talk about something.
I'm sure.
Because it makes me feel good. But
yay, look at me.
Look, I come up with something I've never heard. I'm sure someone probably has had the thought. But do you remember the time where Jesus was working with the blind person, and he spits in the dirt and the sand and starts right, and then he puts it on the eyes? I think he's forming eyeballs. I think he's like, because that's what you would have to do, right? So wouldn't it be cool if if you were there and you witnessed it, Jesus was like that, like made a little ball, and then like set it. Like, what if the guy didn't have eyes?
I mean, that obviously that's possible.
Because there's like no other reference in the Bible as to why mud was used or anything like that. It's just like this. All the other times, he don't do that. But in this one situation, he does that. And it just, to me, it's fascinating because it makes me think of him forming Adam in the garden, and like what that might have looked like, almost like as a potter does with clay. Right?
So that one specifically, isn't that the one where he tells him he has to go wash it off in the pool of Siloam or whatever? So he don't do the whole thing. He doesn't see until he goes and washes it off.
Yep.
So he has to walk blind with
oh my gosh!
But think about it. You have to walk blind.
Does he have to walk blind the whole way? Does he see and then? No.
I mean, you could look it up, but I am nearly positive. This is not. I'm not the memorized verse dude, but I'm nearly positive that
now, if that's true,
that he has
that's
to go.
Really exciting.
Yeah, he has to walk the whole way, and it's not close. And there's no stick. There's no seeing eye dog. There's no rumble strip when you're about to cross the street and not get run over by a donkey. There's none of that. And you have to make it all the way to the pool I'm
going to double check that, but I'm interested in that big time. I don't remember where it's at. I'll have to check it out.
I'm nearly positive.
That would be really exciting
positive.
if that's the case.
And then, so you have to, it's like, all right, yeah, you're good. All that's left for the miracle to take place is you have to walk down to this pool that's not nearby and wash off the mud. And as soon as you wash off the mud, you'll be able to see.
Wash off the mud.
Like, really? You couldn't just finish the rest? Anyways.
I've enjoyed this. This is, I feel like it's been a little bit different, but I really like it.
I figure we needed something a little bit different.
I agree.
I mean.
And I'd love to see y'all's stories in the chat. Those of you that stumble upon this channel, it's still in its early phases. But for those of you that are there, I would love, ideally, for someone to be able to read through your comments and other comments, because it might help a lot of people because they've heard some of their stories, but it might help someone else that's either struggling with faith or struggling in the middle of a trial or a tribulation. And so I think we should come close to ending with the book of James there. Because it's a powerful idea. You mentioned it earlier, but if I can get
if you could find it,
it's almost there.
Close. Them pages weren't so thin. It'd be easier.
Nope, I went too far. Yeah, for sure. I went too far. Yeah. So I guess is it before? I always have trouble finding James.
That's because it's short and powerful.
Yeah.
Punch you in the mouth.
Galatians, Ephesians, Colossians, Thessalonians, Timothy, Titus. There's the Philemon. Tiny. I'll find it.
Oh, there it is.
I thought it was after Hebrews. I looked for that first. I just skipped over it. Okay.
I had on the side of mine, I have the little cheaters because it's real helpful because I don't know. Or I'd flip for days.
Well, I remember years ago when I was in school.
And you're a kid and you learned the little.
I learned not the New Testament. I gave up before, but I learned all the Old Testament.
Jake knows the whole song. I don't know the whole song.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 2 Samuel, 1 2 Kings, 1 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. Somewhere I might have got messed up in there.
It's all good.
Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Psalms, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel,
wouldn't work for this
Hosea,
one.
Michael, Joel, Amos. I know.
It's in a different order.
Colette is is Proverbs.
Oh, no, it's in a different order.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. There's some rearrangement.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
there's an explanation of it in there.
Zach is not Jewish.
No, I'm not. And
I meant to say that earlier.
This is the complete Jewish study Bible, but it is all the books
for Messianic Jews.
Yeah, for Messianic Jews. So it's there's still New Testament in here. It's not just the Torah, as you can see.
Okay, so
count it all joy.
Here's chapter 1, because a lot of people say, ask God for wisdom, and that's true. But this is within a particular context, which is important. So, verse number 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing, needing nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, I added needing, but needing, wanting. A lot of times today, wanting. It's like the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Yes.
And it's like, well, why don't you want it? No, you do. You shall not have need of anything. Mm-hmm. That's another one of those things in KJV where it requires a little bit of extra effort. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now that's pretty powerful if you think about that. Think about that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You fall into temptation, you're freaking out. Don't worry. Guess what?
God's got it.
You get to learn patience now. Goody. Okay, right? And then right after that is like, and so in the middle of all that, you're going to ask for wisdom. Okay? And so wisdom is specifically tied to this problem. Right? So wisdom comes in the temptation when you ask for it. But you can't be double-minded about it. Because otherwise what will happen is instead of being patient and trying to see what the Lord is doing, you're reacting all the time, right? And so being double-minded. Go ahead.
Indeed. Where is want in there? Because I'm curious what it says.
Verse 4.
Verse 4.
But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Yeah, this says lacking nothing.
Exactly. Because want and lack is like if you want for something, you're lacking it currently. Correct. Right? But now in today's language, when you say, I want this, that means I do want it. So when I was a kid, and Psalms 23, when it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Like, I want the Lord. Why don't I want him?
Right.
It's like, no, I'm lacking nothing.
Right. I shall not lack
here's
him.
How he is doing it. He's leading you in the green pastures and the still waters.
Shall lack for nothing.
And you shall lack for nothing because he's providing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you read the King James, that word want usually means lack of.
Right.
And so you shall not want for anything. You shall not lack anything. And so in that scripture, that's the reason why I just stopped it, because I wanted to make sure that was clear when I was reading it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But I think this has been a fantastic episode.
It
And tomorrow, next episode, I'm going to pull this back into business for a second.
It's your turn again?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But you're going to know what it's about, because we're going to talk about it before we do it.
I get a prelude?
Yeah.
Well, you guys don't get a prelude. All you know is it's going to be about business.
No. I'm going to give my hint, right?
Yeah. My bad. I
already got the thumbnail for it and everything, baby. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to talk about in the business world, and this works if you're an entrepreneur, if you're not an entrepreneur, but mostly, particularly if you're an entrepreneur or you have a business or you're wanting to create a business, this is really important. People are always wondering what to charge.
Mm-hmm.
And there are coaches out there like crazy telling people you need to raise your prices no matter what. And I know you have a lot of strong feelings about that. And I have strong feelings around it.
I do.
And I thought that would be a really good thing, because there's situations where it definitely needs to happen. There's situations where it definitely does not need to happen. There is, and I think it ties to the Bible very strongly, actually,
Perfect.
specifically in there's something that's an abomination to the Lord. Yeah, and it is a false balance. And so if you're a Christian, if you're a believer and you're an entrepreneur, you need to understand the right way to have a just balance. And I think that's the fear of a lot of entrepreneurs at raising their prices, because they're like, oh man, I don't want to take advantage of someone. But at the same time, you can take advantage of your situation and the people that surround you as well. And so so a false balance either way is not good.
Right.
And so I want to walk through a lot of very practical examples on why people should choose some low ticket things, how you price things, how you don't price things, when you should charge high, when you should not, what makes it valuable enough to, and what makes it not valuable enough to. And I think that would be a really, because there's a lot of twists and turns in that conversation.
Okay.
And I think that people will find it extraordinarily valuable. If they're a coach, if they're a consultant, if they're a furniture store,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult when you've not really been in the pricing world and why prices are like they are, and a lot of the games that are played.
Yeah.
Because even in a lot of the high ticket coaches, there's a little bit of, not all of them, I want to be clear about this, but there's a lot of deception, because part of making people want to pay a high price is talking about how they ought to charge it for themselves. And so that then pre-frames them for a high ticket. So it's good for their business, but not necessarily good for every business.
Don't get too far into it. Give away the whole episode.
No, I'm not, because I'm really not, because that leads into, particularly it leads into the power of low ticket sales as well.
Oh yeah.
And how important they are.
Yep.
And how important they can be. And we'll talk from Elon Musk all the way down to Walmart and Sam Walton and all the different philosophies.
I like Elon Musk.
In between.
I like what he did with Tesla.
It's fascinating what he did with Tesla.
It's pretty brilliant.
It is pretty brilliant. And I think it's right for certain business models.
I don't think
it's right for
I don't
every
think
business
I don't
model.
think it's applicable to everything.
Yeah.
But
I think it would
but
also,
it is a thing that you could do
and I think
in certain situations.
And I think this next episode will specifically help people with imposter syndrome, that thing that's called a lot, and how to avoid it. And sometimes how to avoid it is not to pretend it don't exist and charge more money.
True.
Sometimes that's not the right solution. And because you really do need value. So we will talk about that next week, Lord willing.
That would be fascinating, Lord willing.